In most modern Western cultures, there are two genders, male and female. Besides their schemas of the physical features of a male or female, people also use clothing to decipher who is a woman and who is a man. In our culture, women wear dresses, pants, skirts, and pretty much anything else a man can wear. However, if a man wore a skirt down the street, he would get very strange looks from anyone he comes in contact with. So, does clothing have gender too? Is the gender of clothing relative? And how does clothing affect the psychology of a person?
In societies like Africa, clothing seems almost optional. These people have a different culture and costumes from our own. Women's and men's outfits are almost identical. They do not worry about trends or making fashion statements. They have different priorities in life that lead them to dress comfortably and accommodate for the hot and dry weather. In Scotland, it is acceptable for men to wear skirts. Although there, they are not called skirts, they are called kilts. Kilts originated in Ireland as what some people think was the plaid armor of soldiers. Kilts have become a traditional item of clothing for Scottish men to wear. Scottish men are not the only ones allowed to wear skirts. Hawaiian dancers sport them quite often as well. As a matter of fact, men throughout Africa and Asia wear sarongs. Some estimates point out that up to 70% of men around the world wear skirt-like outfits.
Kimonos from Asia are another example of the subjectivity of clothes. Men's kimonos look very similar to a dress, yet they are not. Both men and women can wear kimonos. However, today's kimonos are more lavish and often portray a more feminine look. We have seen how the type of clothes a person wears depends highly on the culture of society. So, when did the unspoken rules of what to wear begin?
Our history begins with the Romans and the Greeks, whose men and women wore very similar-looking togas.
During the Elizabethan era between the 1550s and the mid-1600s, the use of jewelry increased. The rich and wealthy wore heavy, lavish fabrics. During the era of the Pilgrims, fashion changed from lavish to simplicity. The Puritans went for comfort and usefulness.
In the 1600s, high heels were invented, for men riding horses to prevent their feet from slipping from the stirrups. In the late 1700s, women began to use corsets to make their midsection appear very thin. They also started wearing larger wigs than men. Colors such as black, brown, blue, and gray-brown were labeled as men's colors. Feminine colors included rose, cream, yellow, and lavender.
The shape of a woman below her waist had not concerned the general public until the 1860s. At that time, her hips became important, and corseting them was a matter of serious consideration.
In the 1900s, Americans began to depart from their European backgrounds as corsets were given up and dressing for events became less formalized. The end of World War I created a prosperous economy and a passion within the American people toward fashion. People had money to spend and were open to new styles.
In the 1920s, the same suit men wear today was created as the basic for every man's professional wardrobe. Women got the right to vote and express their new independence in rebellious fashion. Short, bobbed hair, red lips, and flat chests were in.
In the 1930s, Americans in the Great Depression had to find ways to make clothes last as long as possible. Ironically, this time period was also the most glamorous in the 20th century. Celebrities and the wealthy were able to have lavish parties and luxurious fashion. Struggling Americans looked to the movie stars for hope for their future. The 1930s is also when the popularity of the tan began, as Americans recognized a tan as the ability to afford traveling to exotic destinations.
The decade of suburbia began in the 1950s. When World War II ended, America wanted a more traditional lifestyle. Men worked outside of the home and embraced the professional and masculine dress. Women were the homemakers and caretakers of the children, and dressed in very feminine and motherly fashion. There was a distinct difference in men and women's styles. Men wanted to appear handsome and masculine, and women idolized the flirtatious and womanly movie stars of that time.
In the 1960s, there was an invasion of British rock bands. Almost instantaneously, Americans became obsessed with British style. People, especially young adults, wanted to portray the new look, known as mod. They used the new style to appear edgy and trendy.
The 1970s ushered a new perspective, that politics could influence fashion. After the Vietnam War began, many American people were frustrated with their government. A new symbol, the peace sign, was used by Americans to express their political hopes for world peace. As groups of hippies emerged, bell-bottom pants, platform shoes, and tie-dye became recognized pieces of their wardrobe.
During the 1980s, the media grew stronger as an influence on fashion. Big hair rock bands with animal prints and spandex made an impact on young people during this time. Neon colors, as well as fabrics such as acid-wash denim and sequin-covered cloth, grew popular and characterized the eccentric pop culture of the time.
Media influence continued into the 1990s with impressive impact from movies such as Dirty Dancing. As more women entered professional occupations, the power suit became a major female trend for both business and formal wear.
Today, there are various styles for men and women to wear. It is acceptable for women to wear pants and suits and for men to wear jewelry and fitted jeans. Co-cultures have also emerged within our fashion world today. Groups of people find comfort in their favorite styles, including goth, whose fans prefer dark colors, metal embellishments, and heavy makeup. Prep, which often includes golf or tennis gear, plaid fabric, and navy or hunter green colors. And even bohemian, a style that has recently become repopularized with organic fabrics and dyes, flowing skirts, and comfortable and open shoes. Drag, in which wearers enjoy dressing in clothing traditionally recognized as the opposite genders. There are now catwalks and drag gatherings known as balls for members of this fashion co-culture.
Although men and women still have distinct styles, fashion has grown to include many different styles regardless of the current trend. Fashion has also become more open, allowing more opportunities for men and women to dress the way they like without being judged. As politics and pop culture change, fashion will continue to change as well, allowing people the opportunity to express the times through their clothing.